This podcast is for singers who have music in their soul and want to be in the spotlight. We are INVICTA Vox Radio.
What's up, y'all? Coming at it strong today.
Mike the Hick.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of INVICTA Vox Radio. As always, we are your hosts, Mike and
Angie Lee.
I forgot who I was for a minute.
It's been one of those days. We're in a rush. We're heading out to Vegas next week, so you know.
Yeah, party time.
Excellent.
But today we're talking about one of the main things that we see people really struggle with, or what actually ends up holding people back. Because obviously, you know, people who are on the top, who have made it, they're doing their thing, they have a whole team behind them, they're pushing them, but it's for everybody that's in this developmental stage that it's really hard to put in all the work that's necessary to get to the point where you ultimately want to be.
In your music career.
Yeah, or anything else you're doing. It's just like going to college or trying to find a degree, but yes, in this specific instance, with your music career, right? And so what we forget is that this takes a lot of work, a lot of work. You're constantly digging, you're constantly pushing, you're constantly practicing, you're working on your instrument, your songwriting, your music videos, your everything, right? You're putting a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of energy into it. And there's kind of this balance of, like you were saying a minute ago, before we started this episode, so I don't know why I even brought it up, but that there's reasons, right?
Yeah.
You're always going to have reasons that you want to quit. And we've talked about this before, right? There's some reasons that are legitimate, some reasons that are frivolous and silly, but those reasons are always going to be hanging out in the background. It's like wolves that are just off the trail.
They're just waiting to eat you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they pull you off the trail really easy too.
Yeah. And it's just always there. It's always present.
There's always going to be a reason not to do what you want to do.
Yeah, there's something that's waiting to derail you at all times.
Yeah, and some of those reasons are actually really good. Some of them are, it's not like they're all frivolous, right? Like, you might have health issues, you might have money issues, there might be something real legit in your life that is a really good reason as to why you should not do specific things you want to do. And then there's like the really dumb reasons, right? I am more committed to watching The Office on Netflix and finishing all seasons of The Office in one fell swoop than I am to, doing what I want to do. So there's stupid reasons and then there's legit reasons. And the thing that's really interesting is that we don't always see like the things that are severe in our life as a reason to not do something, and that it's just a reason. Because it's truly there. It's a problem. But I want you guys to start to focus in on maybe some of these little things in your life that keep derailing you, that are maybe good reasons or bad reasons as to why you are not doing what you want to be doing, and why you are jumping off the path or getting pulled off the path by wolves on your journey to what you want to be doing with your art and what you want to be doing with your music. And
the thing that sucks is sometimes it's like it is. So I want to talk about the legitimate. I think that there's two different approaches, right? Mm-hmm. One for these real legitimate reasons, and they are legitimate, and that's why we give so much weight to them. Yeah. But unfortunately, I think we give them too much weight.
Yeah, because what we really want to talk about is like how these reasons hold you back from getting the results you want, right? There's reasons and results, and we have to talk about why we might be married to our reasons more than we are to our results. And there's these two legitimate reasons as to why we don't reach for our results and push past that.
Right. But these two approaches. So one is for the legitimate reasons, and then the other is for these stupid reasons. We get taken down by the stupid reasons so often. And so if it's like a wolf waiting in the trees to eat us, it's like the little like skinny one with missing a leg and one eye, and you're like, there's no way that thing's gonna get me.
The mangy wolf. Yeah. It's like got two legs.
Yeah.
It's
and you're
dragging
like,
its butt.
There's no chance that thing's gonna get me. And a lot of times those are actually the ones that get us.
That's most of the time the ones that get you, because oftentimes I think when the big alpha wolf is standing in front of you and growling at you, you like stare it down. A lot of time people will fight through the hard things to get what they want, right? Because you see that it's something that's in your path and it's in your way. It's the mangy wolves.
Yeah. Because you don't think it's going to get you, and you let it like come up and nip at your heels.
Like, oh, little pet its
but
ear.
then once it gets a hold of you, it takes you down.
Yeah,
and it's surprising how much that happens. And so let's compare it. Like I always try to think of things in a couple different angles, but one way that's really easy to see that a lot of people have been through is when it comes to dieting.
Oh yeah, body is always the easiest way to see things. Like so easy.
Yeah. So let's say you're on a diet and you have a sweet tooth. Okay.
Enter Michael Lee.
And I know this super well because this is me. And again, you're like, I can handle it. No problem. And you're going through.
My body handles carbs.
And you're doing great. And here's where results matter, right? Because again, in a diet, typically the result that you're after is to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
So when you're on this diet and you're putting in all this effort and you're putting in all this energy, if you're stepping on the scale and you see those numbers going down, you're like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I'm seeing the results I want.
Yeah.
And so you stay motivated. You don't give in to that sweet tooth. You don't give in to the stupid little things. You don't let that mangy wolf get you.
The mangy sweet tooth wolf.
Yeah.
He's got rotted gums. His teeth are falling out. Like when the dogs get taffy in their mouth and they're like,
okay.
That's that wolf.
Yeah. But as soon as you stop seeing the results that you're after, right? And you're like, okay, I'm putting in work. I've been doing this diet the same way I did, the same way that got me to a certain, to
this point.
I dropped 15 pounds doing this. I continue to do it. I'm not seeing any progress. I'm not seeing any results. Why am I putting in so much effort?
And you get super discouraged.
And then that sweet tooth hits you, and you have one little what's one little thing
one
gonna
minty
do?
mint.
Yeah, you let that thing clamp onto your ankle and it doesn't let go. Then all of a sudden,
whole box of mini mint.
One treat turns into many treats.
You're like,
and you're like,
these cookies weren't here before.
And it becomes easy to all of a sudden justify things at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, I just had one treat, but all right, I'll let today slide. And then I'll get back into it tomorrow. So then you let the day go. Well, then the next day, now you've just got a craving for that even more.
And as you're walking down the path, the mangy wolf is attached to your ankle and you're dragging it.
Yeah, and it's just feeding off you. It's sucking the life force from your body.
And then you see the pack of M&Ms that you didn't realize was there before.
And then all of a sudden you've gained.
And someone at work offers you a donut.
Right. And then you've gained back that 15 pounds that you lost plus some.
And it comes back quick.
Right.
You lose ground very, very quickly.
And so this just illustrates the point. When we're seeing the results we want, when we see that progress, when we see what we're trying to achieve, then the little dumb reasons drift away. It's so easy to stay away from. It's so easy to
you can walk way faster than a wolf with two legs. So
yeah,
you leave it in the dust.
yeah. And same thing with your music, right? You're putting in all this effort, all this energy, and you start to feel like you're making progress. Well, as soon as you get to a point where your progress stops,
or
in your
you
mind,
seemingly can't see the results coming,
right?
Like
it's like, oh man, I've been writing songs. I feel like I can't write anything that's good. But I'm putting in the effort. I'm putting in the reps. I'm putting in the energy.
Nothing's coming from it. Nobody's giving me love. Like, I can't feel it.
Then all of a sudden it's like, well, why? I'll just take tonight off and watch The Office.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, okay, well, I need to give myself more time to get my creative juices flowing. So I'll just take this week off. Then I'll take this month off. Then I'll take this year off. And then 5 years later, you're like, well, maybe I should make a comeback and try.
Like, oh man, I was really into it at one point. I actually get that all the time. People come in for their first lessons
all
with
the
me,
time.
And they're in their 30s, and they're like, yeah, I was really committed to this in my early 20s, and I don't know why, but for some reason, I just took 10 years off. But I realized that I really love it, and I still want to do it. And it's like, wow, you wasted 10 years because of this reason.
Yeah.
Because and it's not like they were and not that these people are always like, yeah, I want to be an A-list artist. That's not necessarily the truth, but they've been missing their music for 10 years because they didn't get the results they wanted immediately back when they were 20. And it's just crazy to me that people let the mangy wolf pull him off the path. No, like, because then, we can go to the next scenario, which is actually the alpha wolf that's in front of you. It's actually stepped onto the path to try to block your way.
Right.
And these are the good reasons. These are the legitimate reasons we were talking about. Like we have a student in the studio who was just diagnosed with mouth cancer. You know, that's a legitimate reason. That's not something to bow, or to feel like you can't bow out about. Like this is a big deal. It's a scary word. And he derailed completely, so much so that we didn't even see him for a month. And he wouldn't return our calls, like all this stuff. We love him so much, by the way, and he's back now. But because things like that are so scary, and they do derail us for a little bit. And the big thing is that we don't let them derail us for too long. Like, be in the moment with it, digest this information, and then get back on that path. Don't let that wolf take you out. Because at the end of the day, these kind of, your music and these things that you want and things that you're committed to are ultimately what give you life. And so if you stop doing the work for a legitimate reason, you're going to go down the pit faster than you could possibly imagine, because these are the things that give you life. They give you light. They give you purpose. They give you power. And so staying on that path, beat that wolf.
Kick it in the face.
Seriously. Well, and I've had health problems the last couple of weeks, like some severe health problems that we're trying to get to the bottom to, like lots of doctor's appointments and all this stuff. And I did let it like slow me down a little bit, but and this is where we can get to, I know this is something you want to talk about, is sometimes you do have to slow down a little bit. Sometimes you can't be pushing to gain ground. Sometimes you just have to stay where you are and maintain. And that's what I've been trying to do over the last couple of weeks with this is, okay, I did not get diagnosed with cancer, which is great. It came back negative, but yeah, there's some other things going on. And so it's like, okay, so what can I do to make sure that I don't lose momentum or ground? What can I do to make sure that I know that when I'm through this kind of trying time, that I can keep pushing for my results and I didn't backstep?
Right. So the two strategies, right? And
yeah.
This is where I ultimately want to get to is, one, we'll just go after the mangy wolf first. We'll kick this one right in his mangy face. But with those, you have to be committed to the results you want.
Yeah.
You have to understand first what results you're going after.
Right.
Because if you don't know what you're trying to do, then you're certainly not going to do it. So you have to be always very clear on what you are trying to achieve. What is that next step? What are you trying to accomplish? And making sure that, okay, you've gone down a road. Maybe you got to a certain point doing what you're doing, but now you've hit a dead end. Do not stop. Do not keep beating your head against the wall. Mm-hmm. Lean into somebody else. Find other resources. Go a different direction. Mm-hmm. Don't just keep beating your head against the wall and expecting things to change. Don't follow that little rule of insanity or whatever, right? You have clearly hit a dead end. Now it's time to shift. And it's like, okay, I'm going to the top of the mountain. I've gone up this trail. This trail now dead ends. I have to look right and left to see if there's other trails that go up that way. And when I do see one, maybe you have to backstep. Maybe you got to cut laterally for a little bit to make it happen. But you have to get back on another trail that's going to get you further up the mountain. And otherwise, you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, well, I'm out of food. I'm out of water. I'm going home, Or you die. Yeah. Or that mangy wolf gets you.
Nibbles on your toes.
So that to me is really the key to that. Is you have to be, first, like I said, you have to understand the results that you're trying to achieve. And second, you have to be super committed to that. Well, so when you do hit that dead end, you find another way.
Yeah, it's that, are you going to fall victim to your results, or are you going to be the victor of, fall victim to your reasons, or are you going to be the victor of your results? Right? Falling victim is letting the mangy wolf get in the way, or letting the big alpha wolf take you out. Right?
Right.
And it's like, are you going to be a victim to that, or are you going to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and, like you said, find that path and keep going and pushing through to find the results you want? And It's about being committed to your results and not committed to your reasons, because most people are committed to their reasons and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
They don't realize that they're missing that commitment to the result.
Yeah. And no, I 100% agree. I think that's really the key to beating down the mangy wolf, is just stay committed to your results, just flat out. Yep. And then let those stupid reasons, the little dumb ones that get us, go by the wayside. Now, in the case of this alpha wolf that stepped out on the path, right? So again, in this analogy, your path is still in front of you.
Yeah.
Yet you haven't hit this dead end. You don't need to stop, other than there's this giant obstacle that just stepped in your way, and you know that you're not going to leave the path.
You got to get buckled up to fight.
Yeah, you got to wait it out, though, right? You're going to be in the battle with this thing for a little while. And so the key is to not fall backwards, to not lose ground to it, that then after you're all fatigued and beat up, then you're like, oh, crap, well, that's going to take me so much time just to get back to where I was. And then by that point, then you're exhausted and fatigued from everything. And then the mangy wolf gets you after you won your battle with the alpha, right? And so that's why in that case, don't give up the ground that you've worked so hard to get to. Yeah. You've put in so much just to get to this point. The key is to not lose a step.
Yeah, maintain that as long as you possibly can, until you are in a position to be able to move again and to really go after it and put more energy into those results.
Right. So if you're doing voice lessons, let's just take this another direction. You're working on your voice, and you're used to practicing an hour a day, and you're seeing all these great results coming from it. Then all of a sudden you get sick, or somebody else gets sick and you have to take care of them, or whatever. You tons of financial stress, whatever, and you just can't handle it at that point to keep going an hour. Well, practice for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just do enough to maintain where you're at. Don't look to improve in that scenario. Just look to maintain. Hold your ground. Again, going back to this idea of the diet, if something happens, don't try to lose more weight in that, but just try to maintain what you've done to that point. And if you lose a step or two, giving it all you got to maintain, then you do, but you're not going to be mentally defeated in that scenario.
Yeah, and then at that point, too, when you're ready to go at it again, you can course correct. You can figure out what you need to do next to maybe move the needle again. And so it's like you said, you can sidestep to a different path, or you can wait out the alpha wolf.
Yeah, and just don't lose ground. So that's the key to building big things, is keep your results keeping you moving forward at all times. So, right, be the victor of your results.
Commitment to the results. Don't be the victim of your reasons. Be the victor of your results.
And then don't let yourself slide back, right? So don't lose the ground that you've done. Otherwise, and we see this all the time. This is why yo-yo dieting exists, right? This is why, and you see that same cycle in almost everything.
This is why we see people take off doing their music for 10 years.
Yeah. You see this improvement and then nothing, and it drops down. Then they hit this other threshold where they want to get back in and do it again. So then they make progress and then peak out and drop back down. You just sit there and fluctuate in this range for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So if you want to break through and actually have this constant progression, at least to a degree, right? Because sometimes you're going to stop and just maintain. But so really what you're after is a climb and a plateau, rather than going into a wave.
Yep. That's like way more efficient way to do it. So that brings us to our question, Mike. What is our question for today?
So our question is really it's twofold, right? So you have to look at what's actually holding you back right now. One, are you not committed to your results? So what result are you not committed to that you know you should be doing? And two, if there is like the alpha wolf that you're up against right now, how can you maintain in the scenario that you're in?
Yeah. Are you going to be the victim of your reasons or the victor of your results?
Yeah. So just go through, bust out your pen and your paper, your journal, write in the comments. Do whatever. Whatever you got. Send a smoke signal to somebody. Just Just throw it out there, though, and really dig into it, get specific, and
because if you know what the reasons are that are holding you back, you're going to be able to course correct and get those results you want.
Yep.
Awesome.
And with that, we are going to bring this to a conclusion. All right, everyone.
Subscribe.
Please subscribe or like or share or wink at someone next time you're at the grocery store. I don't even.
That's it.
That's it. All right, everybody. And until next time.
Peace.